Welcome to War Room Sports TV. War Room Sports is brought to you by Audible.com. Download a free audiobook of your choice by going to audibletrial.com/War Room Sports.
This guest has been very influential in the life of many young gentlemen and older gentlemen now through basketball, by the Sonny Hill League and the High School League, the Futures League, the College League, the Baker League. He even sits on the panel with the McDonald's All-American team, and just a basketball guru and figure worldwide. And he's also a good friend. He was a good friend of Wilt Chamberlain. And without further ado, everyone, we have our guest, Sonny Hill.
How are you
doing, Coach Hill? Pretty good.
Hey,
pretty
doing
good.
Fantastic.
Okay, that's good. Now, I'll start off with the first question we have here. How old were you when you first met Wilt Chamberlain, and how did you two first meet?
We're about 12 years old, and we're the same age. I'm born July the 22nd, 1936. He's born August the 21st, 1936. We both graduated from high school at the same time in 1955. He was at Overbrook, and I was at Northeast. I first met Wilt when we were about 12 years old. We were playing in the old Baptist Church League.
Wow, okay. That's nice.
How tall was he at 12 years old?
He's probably about 6'8" then.
Whew. Wow.
Sheesh.
So we've heard all the myths and the legends about Wilt being a terrific all-around athlete, and I'm not sure if you were just listening there, but we heard him reference. Okay, we heard him reference at the Olympics this year being the greatest beach volleyball player of a certain era. So, what are some of the feats in any sport that Wilt accomplished that many people might not know about?
It's interesting that you brought that up, because on my radio show this past Sunday, I spoke about Wilt's birthday, but I talked about it from the other side, which most people are not even aware of. I had his sister on, Barbara Chamberlain Lewis. I had Zelda Spolster from the NBA, and I had Mike Richmond, who is the son of Ike Richmond, who was the co-owner of the Philadelphia 76ers when they purchased them from Syracuse, which is now the Philadelphia 76er team. And we talked about that, and one of the things that his sister wrote and spoke about is that he also plays polo, water polo.
Oh, wow. What?
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You notice when I speak to people like you and you are overwhelmed, it never phases me because I've seen it. I know what it's really all about. I was more than a decent basketball player myself. I'm in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. I played 10 years in the Old Eastern Basketball League. So I'm talking from playing against great players. And I know every basketball player basically from 1946 to where we are right now.
Woo. Yeah, we actually had Herb Adderley on. And,
I raised Herb Adderley. I told you that. I done told you that already. I raised Herb. So go ahead.
Okay. he actually mentioned you and Wilt Chamberlain. Speaking of playing in high school, you guys want to play that clip so we can let him hear what Herb said about Sonny and Wilt?
Yeah, you can go ahead and play that clip.
Mention that you jumped center. Playing with Sonny Hill at Northeast. Y'all lost one game, and you jumped center against Wilt Chamberlain when y'all lost to Overbrook.
Hope to still.
Yeah. Yeah, well, basketball was and still is my favorite sport. And when I left Roosevelt Junior High School, Washington Lane and Musgrave, I went to Germantown High School, and I went out for the basketball team, and they said because they had the A and B back then, where you graduated midterm. So basketball season was already going on. So when I went out for the team, the coach there told me that it was too late, that they already had the team and everything. So the following week, I transferred to Northeast at 8th and Lehigh. And Guy Rogers, great player. He was my idol. And when I ended up at Northeast, it was still midterm. I went out for the team. I had no problem. I ended up starting. And like I said, Sonny Hill was on that team. A guy named T. Parham, Bobby Young, Milt Davis, just to name a few of those guys. But anyway, ended up playing against Wilt. This was 1955. Our team went 11-1, and the game we lost was to Overbrook and Wilt. They were 12-0 that year. And I remember jumping center against Wilt because I was the center on the team, and I also brought the ball up court like a point guard. And Wilt scored 48 points against us. They beat us by like 10 points because we had a really good team, and so did they. But Wilt was the factor. And there was a guy named Bill Shefsky. Bill Shefsky was the beat writer for the Philadelphia Daily News for high school sports. And on the back page it had Adderley holds Wilt to 48. Coach Ike Willie was really upset about that because he thought it was kind of embarrassing for me and everybody else. So when he finally saw Bill Shefsky, he said, why would you want to put something like this and blast it on the back page? So Bill Shefsky told our coach, Ike Willie, he said, hey, Wilt scored 90 points against Roxborough the week before, so Herb Hosen 48 is a hell of a thing.
That's pretty good. Oh man, yeah, that was a clip from the Herb Adderley show. Now, Coach Hill, I have another question for you. We've heard all of the stories of the great rivalry, mainly from the pro Bill Russell's perspective. In your unbiased opinion, how did Wilt compare to Bill Russell?
Well, first off, it would be a bias only because I grew up with Wilt. Wilt's not my hero. He is just someone who is my contemporary. Bill Russell and I have an extremely close relationship, as I do with many of the Boston Celtics. To compare the two, you'd have to look at it from a different perspective. There is no athlete that has ever played team sports that has had the desire and the drive to win in the manner of Bill Russell. With all that being said, the other side of it is when you think about who put the NBA on the map, when you think about who is the player who made it possible for all the other players of his era and now moving forward to make the money that they're making. When Wilt came into the league in 1959-60, there was only two players in the league that made $20,000. Bob Pettit and Bob Cousy. Wilt made over $75,000 his first year, and attendance in the NBA went up close to 30%. So now, when you factor in 11 championships in 13 years will never be equaled by anybody in the history of team sports. That's Bill Russell. But when you look who changed the game, who dominated the game, Wilt Chamberlain has been retired for 40 years. He still holds 96 records in the record book.
Wow. Wow. It's crazy when you say it like that. I have a question for you, Coach. Do you agree with Wilt's statement when he said, if I had known that you would have made it such a big deal about the scoring record, I would have blown it out the water? I mean, was he that good? Could he just basically do whatever he wanted to do?
Well, here again, you asked me a question, and I can only give you an answer. And one of the first books that Wilt wrote, if you go and get the book, there's a paragraph in there. It says, Sonny Hill told me never to change my game.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Now, Coach Hill, in the essence of pure speculation, how do you think Wilt would have fared in the current NBA? And physically, how would he have fared against someone like Shaquille O'Neal?
The first one is, do you know who Bob Lanier is?
Yeah.
Do you know who Bob Lanier is?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. You saw Bob Lanier, you know him from the Milwaukee Bucks, is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Probably he played with the Pistons too, right?
But you don't know him from the Pistons.
We don't know him from the Pistons.
All I'm asking you to do is respond. Don't give me all the other stuff. When
okay.
Bob Lanier, just listen. You you asked me to be on your show, I'm giving you some information. When Bob Lanier was at the end of his career, now Bob Lanier had a bad leg from the time he came into the NBA because Chris Ford from Villanova undercut him when he was playing in the NCAA when he was at St. Bonaventure. So he never had two solid legs to play on. Bob Lanier is 6'11", probably played at 280 or 290. Do you know who Moses Malone is?
Yes.
All right, you know what Moses did to guys when he played, particularly Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When he got him down low, he punished him. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. You know what the bow is? When you put the elbow on the guy and you tell him that's as far as you go?
Yeah.
Okay. Moses Malone is the most dominant center of his era and one of the most physical and the hardest worker. Bob Lanier put the bow on it, and Moses took his game 18 feet from the basket. Did not come inside at all. Moses will tell you this. So you asked me a question about how Wilt would pair or fare against the players of this era. Bob Lanier then told me a story about, 12 or 13 years ago at an All-Star game. I said, Bob, if Wilt Chamberlain were playing today, this is when you had some centers, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal. You had that group, the last big group of centers. He said, Sonny, 70. No, he didn't mean 70 in one game. He meant average 70 against these guys. Now, I'll give you another story. Bob Lanier, player with the Detroit Pistons. You know how they keep block shots today?
Yeah.
You know how they keep block shots today? Well, they didn't keep block shots back in the day. But Wilt had a computer mind. He played a game against the Detroit Pistons. He blocked in one game 26 shots. And see, it's hard for your radio listening audience and even you guys as younger guys to fathom what I'm saying because he was greater than the game. And those of us who grew up with him, we used to get on him a lot and say, you know, Dip, you're not playing physical enough. You know, Dip, when they put their hand over the rim like that, you should break it off. He said, no, I don't want to hurt anybody.
Damn. So he was a gentle giant.
Always, because, see, he recognized, and you asked a question about how physical.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called innate strength. That's strength from within. And I run across people who say to me, well, Shaquille weighed 50 to 75 pounds more than Wilt, and he would be able to do whatever. Wilt would take Shaquille O'Neal and move him around like he was a rag doll. Let me give you an example. Wilt could take the ball to the basket and get ready to go up and dunk the ball. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, ask Wayne Emery. You know who Wayne Emery is?
Heard of the name. Yeah.
Wayne Emery played for the Cincinnati Royals when Oscar Robertson was there. Wayne Emery became the first black to be a general manager in the NBA. He was also with Cleveland. He's an executive now with Toronto. He's 6'8". When he played about 275 or 280. He used to be on Wilt's arms, going up for a dunk. This is no lie. And Wilt would say to him basically, what floor are you getting off, big fella, before I dunk you in the ball?
Oh, man.
These are not myths. This is truisms.
Wow.
I like this is what I think. This is what I know.
Well, Coach, we hear a lot about Wilt, and people's opinion of him is that he was a selfish player and he was all about his stats. Can you speak to that a little bit? Is there any truth to that, or is that what you get when you can explore that? Mm-hmm.
I grew up playing with Wilt and against Wilt. You know what he would say when we played together? He said, shoot it. I'm going to get it off the board anyhow. You're going to miss over 50% of your shots. We just talked about, he had over 24,000 rebounds.
Yeah.
He was selfish only because the team that he played for, and people don't know this, Eddie Gottlieb, who owned the Philadelphia Warriors, was a promoter. He promoted the old Negro League games. He promoted other sports events. And in order for him to make money to pay his bills, he thought the best way to do it was to have guys who led the league in scoring. He had Joe Folks, who was the Babe Ruth of basketball. After that, he had Paul Harrison, one of the 50 greatest players of all time. He had Neil Johnston, who also led the league in scoring. So when he got Wilt, he wanted Wilt to score because it brought people in. Do you know the Boston Celtics didn't sell out with all the winning that they did? It was Wilt who brought the attendance. It wasn't Russell and the Celtics. People came to see him do what he was doing. That's why I said to him, Dip, never change your game. Because people were on him about, well, you're selfish. Okay, if I'm selfish, I'll lead the league in assists. Nobody has ever been able to do this in the history of basketball. Lead the league in scoring, rebound, and assist. And if they had block shots, he and Russell averaged between 10 and 12 block shots a game in their heyday. Wow. His last season in the NBA, he averaged 18 rebounds a game with the Los Angeles Lakers. He walked away from the game without any fanfare. He just said, I'm finished.
Yeah, that's amazing. His numbers, every time I hear a new number, it's just like, it's amazing. I tell you, when I was a kid, and the older people in my family would talk about Wilt, it was almost as if they were talking about Bigfoot. I was like, somebody did, like, scored 100 points or averaged 50. It's just beyond belief.
But that's not the big thing. Everybody looks at the 100-point game and the 50-point season. That's not what he did was the greatest thing in that season.
What do you think it would be?
He averaged over 48 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You didn't hear that. See, it gets right past most people. No human being can do that. When you play a 48-minute game, you average 100 points. You score 100. You average over 50 in the same season. You average 27 rebounds and 10 to 12 block shots. How can you physically do that? Nobody can do that.
Yeah, that is amazing. Coach Hill, this is B. Austin. I've heard also stories of Wilt's track and field feats. What sort of track and field athlete was Wilt?
It was his favorite sport, and the reason it was his favorite sport, it was able to get him away from being the 7-foot-plus player and people saying, oh, the only reason you can do so-and-so and so is because you're tall. So what he did throughout his life was to do these things, to prove to people that I can do something other than. Wilt had arm wrestling matches with individuals. I just saw today on ESPN, they had the special on there when he scored the 100 points, which I happened to be in. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I happened to be in it. And Al Adams, who played with him as one of his closest friends, talked about the movie Conan and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the strongest guys of his era. Is that right? Correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the room lifting this weight. And he was like, oh, look at what I can do. So Wilt walked over, picked up the same weight that he was picking up, and just picked it up just 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and threw it down. Arnold Schwarzenegger never came back into the weight room after that because of Wilt.
Man.
This is after retired. This is after retired. He didn't make Conan when he was playing. He made Conan after he had retired.
Man.
Oh man, I've heard the stories. I heard that he ran
If there ever was a Paul Bunyan, his name would be Wilt Chamberlain. And the thing that you could never, I heard you guys when you came on and your opening was of the players of that era and whatever, you can never understand his greatness because he was greater than his greatness, which means it all has to be a myth.
Yeah.
If Wilt played today against who? Dwight Howard?
Yeah.
Score against Dwight Howard.
You got a point.
Andrew Bynum.
Yeah, they were being foul trouble in the first 5 minutes of the game. Wilt never fouled out a game in his whole pro career.
That's another
He only
record.
fouled out one game. He only fouled out one game in his whole basketball career, and that's when he was a teenager, and a guy told him, he said, Wilt, if you foul out, you have no value to your team. So that tells you his mental intellect. He never fouled out of a game. He averaged 46 minutes a game in his career. The next player to him is 44 minutes, which is Bill Russell, who played one end of the floor, and the next player to him is Oscar Robertson at 42 minutes a game. Hello?
Not. Okay, Coach, we got one question from the chat room, and then we can get you out of here after that. Monty215 in our chat room asked, do the constant comparisons between Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain as the greatest of all time, do those comparisons bother you at all?
No, because, see, it's a matter of how you look at it. If you say winning, who is the winner?
MJ.
No, it's not. It's Bill Russell.
Oh, no.
No, listen. You listen. They always configured it the way they want it to be. If you say Michael Jordan is a winner, he won 6 times. Russell won 11 championships in 13 years. He won 13 championships in 15 years, the last 2 at the University of San Francisco. They had a 57-game win streak. Bill Russell don't spend 5 minutes with anybody on anything. Bill Russell on my radio show spent 2 hours with me. He said, Sonny, in 21 years of playing basketball, he won 21 championships. So who's the greatest when it comes to winning? I didn't hear you.
Oh, Bill Russell.
Yeah, now let's look. And Michael is my guy. All 3 of these guys are my guys. Not somebody that I know.
Between Michael and Wilt. That's what I think you meant.
But you see, you can't do it to me. I've been in broadcast for over 45 years.
Gotcha.
I'm telling you the story the way it needs to be told so that your regular listeners listen. It's 3 individuals. Winning is Bill Russell. If you say Michael Jordan, he won 6 times. Did he win as many as Russell? No. So he can't be as great as Russell if he didn't win. Well, who owns the record book? Who owns the record book? That's your answer. That's your answer. You got to understand the modern media. Most people never saw Wilt because it was old black and white. If Wilt was playing today, he would own the league, not a franchise. You couldn't pay him enough.
Yeah, how about that? I mean,
here's one last one for you. I'll give you this one. It was on the radio show Sunday. They were making a sneaker commercial. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Willis Reed, and Wilt. The sneaker company called Wilt up and said, we want you to make this commercial. Wilt said, okay, how much money? You got $200,000? They said, no, we're only paying these guys $50,000. He said, well, you won't get me. So they called him back. They said, we got $200,000, but we want you to do one thing. Don't tell anybody. Russell, Kareem, and Willis Reed, don't tell them that they're only getting $50,000. If you don't know the story, you don't know the story. You called and asked me to be on.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
you called and said you wanted me to be on.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is the truth. That's what we want.
Yo,
we need
the truth. We need the truth, Coach Hill. We need the truth.
The truth and nothing but the truth, and the truth
shall set you free.
And nobody confronts me in terms of what I'm saying nationally, internationally, and whatever goes on. Nobody.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
true.
How does it make you feel when they give like a lot of the younger guys when they start calling them great and talk about their greatness before they really accomplish anything? I mean, considering you saw, Wilt and Bill Russell in their heyday, and you see these young guys now, especially the big men that play now, and they talk about them as if they're great without any
man? Whoa! You said big man.
Well,
big man. There are no big men.
This is true.
They don't play in the center. The only guy that we got about 3 or 4 guys in the whole league that play in the paint offensively in the paint defensively. Andrew Bynum is one. Dwight Howard is one. Everybody else drifts. They'll come outside, 15-foot jump shots. You know, Wilt had a great shot outside. He used to win games in horse. But you never saw it because he knew where his value was.
True.
It wasn't that he could shoot outside. There's a lot of things he could do. That's why he enjoyed playing with the Globetrotters. How many guys you think can get in the circle of the Globetrotters and do what they do? He's 7'1".
This is true.
So you show what kind of dexterity, what kind of hand-eye coordination, what kind of rhythm he had. The circle for the Globetrotters is one of the most enduring things in the history of basketball, and he did that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And Coach Hill, this is Akil. You know, it's definitely a great pleasure having you on our show, and we'd like to give you some time to promote anything you'd like to promote. Tell people when they can listen to your show and other broadcasts that you might have. Go ahead, Coach Hill.
I want to promote you guys from Philadelphia Central High School, Howard University. You're young guys who are doing great things. You're going to college. You're getting additional education, and you're in a field that you enjoy, and it's kudos to you. It's not about me. It's about those before me who put me where I am. If it wasn't for them, I couldn't do what I'm doing. So what I want you to remember is as you move forward, always reach back and help other individuals. That's all.
Absolutely.
Man, Coach Hill, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
We're honored.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks again. That's Sonny Hill, everybody.
Sonny Hill.
Hall of Famer Sonny Hill.
Hall of Famer Sonny Hill, the legend in his own right.
Yeah, how about that? That's amazing.
Kuwait, it's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.